Fall always brings out the best apple recipes, and today I'm trying 3 that have taken the internet by storm, from soft golden Russian pirashki to creamy apple pie cheesecake, and even a 2-ingredient apple marshmallow that feels like magic. Each one is simple, comforting, and absolutely worth making. So grab your aprons and let's see which one steals the show. Growing up in Belarus during Soviet era, pirashki, or what would be equivalent to American hand pie, were a very popular item. In fact, I would consider them more like street food. You would have retired grandmothers who would stay in the corner of a street and they would yell, "Горячие pirashki," which means hot hand pies. And as a child, my mom would always buy them as a treat for me. Personally, I preferred the fried version of pirashki. But when I saw this viral version of baked pirashki that looked just melt in your mouth and the dough looked just so soft, I had to try it. Now the dough is very easy to make. You activate your yeast first and then mix all your wet ingredients together. Then you add flour and mix everything together until doughs form and everything is incorporated. For your last step, you add room temperature butter little by little and mix it until it is incorporated in your dough. Now this is where you want to exercise a little bit of patience because it took me upwards of 20 minutes for my dough to completely mix well. You will start to notice that your dough will no longer stick to the sides of your bowl and actually still be a little bit sticky to your touch, but you will be able to stretch it without it easily tearing apart. Next, you want to allow your dough to completely rise. This step applies to any yeast recipes that you're making. You have to allow your dough to double in size. And you can't really put a time limit on it because sometimes if your room is warm, it may take an hour. Sometimes it takes 2 hours. For example, in this particular recipe, as you can see, I have a double oven. I used to bake in large quantities and sold my baked goods online, so I had to buy a double oven in order to be able to be efficient. So my oven has a setting where I can proof my dough and it sets to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and it took my dough over 2 hours to rise. While my dough was rising, I made apple filling by combining apples and sugar together and cooking until my apples were tender. One of the things I found frustrating in this recipe is it uses apple filling, but it didn't give any instructions how to make it, which is not a big deal. It's easy, just add sugar and apples, but it didn't say how many apples. Also, the recipe didn't say how many little hand pies it's gonna come out. Is it gonna be 30? Is it gonna be 20? So I don't know if this is gonna work, if I'm gonna have enough. If not, also, growing up in Belarus, we ate pirashki, which is hand pies, and a lot of times with jam. So I'm just going to use my homemade strawberries if I have extra dough to fill them with the jam. After the dough has doubled in size, and I mentioned that it took me a little bit over 2 hours, it was time to punch the dough down and then shape little balls. Now, the original recipe was in grams, which honestly I prefer recipe by weight because it's more accurate. So in this particular recipe, each ball was supposed to be 30 grams. I kept mine between 30 to 35 grams. You don't have to use scale for shaping the balls. You can just pinch and decide how big of a hand pie you would like. I just wanted mine to be mini and I wanted them to be all about the same size. As I mentioned earlier, the original recipe didn't tell me how many apples I needed to use for apple pie filling or how to make apple pie filling. So at this point I was winging it. The recipe also didn't tell me how much apple pie filling do I add per 30 gram of dough. I originally started off with about 1 tablespoon, then I kind of progressed to 2 tablespoons. But if I had to do it all over again, I would actually stretch my dough out a little bit more and add 3 tablespoons of apple pie filling. This way I would have a bigger ratio of apple pie filling to my dough. But either way, they turn out amazing. I'm kind of spoiling it here, but if I had to do it again, I would definitely add a little bit more of the pie filling. I ended up not having enough apple filling, so I had about 5 dough balls that I needed to fill with something. I decided to add my strawberry jam, and it just would not work for me. The jam was just too runny, and I knew that as soon as my pies would start baking, all the jam will probably just seep out. The sides of my dough wouldn't even pinch together because it just had too much liquid. I looked through my fridge and pulled out apricot jam, which was really thick, and I figured that could probably work. I filled 4 remaining dough balls with apricot filling and hoped for the best. It did work out much better than using my strawberry jam because this particular jam, and I used just Walmart brand, was much thicker, so my sides were able to be pinched without any kind of extra liquid standing in the way. Once I finished shaping all the pirashki, it was time for them to rise the second time. So the first time is when just the dough was rising. Now this would be the second time with them being shaped, having filling inside. They had to rise again. It took my pirashki about 40 minutes to do the second rise, so not quite as long as the first one. Just make sure to put them somewhere where it's draft free and a little bit warm. After pirashki have risen, I add egg wash to the top of them, and all it is egg yolks and just about a tablespoon of water. Mix it together and then use the brush to brush it on top of your dough. The original recipe told me to bake at 350, but it did not say how long. It just said until they look golden brown. It took mine about 18 to 15 minutes. Look how beautiful this turned out. My apple filling stayed intact, didn't come out. Look how soft they are. They rose beautiful, they look beautiful. Now here, I had about 4 of them, remember, with apricot jam, and they didn't turn out quite as well. Well, it looks like, see right here, I did not seal well, so through that hole, the jam came out. So I guess better to do it with apple filling, or make sure you seal it well if you want to do it with jam. But we're about to taste it and see how they taste. Now is the fun time to see if these beautiful pirashki actually taste as good as they look. Now, since I grew up during USSR era, pirashki is something I grew up eating as a kid. So I have a certain level of expectation because I know what they're supposed to taste like. So let's try it out. Let's take this one. These are so good, y'all. So good. The dough is not overly sweet. Hold on, let me finish eating. I don't want to talk with my mouth full. The dough is not overly sweet. So I guess if you want a sweeter version of these, you can add a few tablespoons of sugar to your dough when you're making dough. I can see my apple filling, and it tastes really good. But I think, personally, you can probably add another tablespoon of filling and stretch the dough as you form in pirashki, because that way I feel like you'll have more apple flavor to it. But other than that, these are amazing, just as what I remember them tasting when I was a little girl. So this is definitely a recipe I'll do again. I'll just probably add maybe a tablespoon extra of sugar to my dough and add an extra tablespoon of filling to this. This will be incredible with a cup of coffee or tea if you enjoy tea instead of coffee. Definitely a keeper.
We're the best.
Next on my to-do list was to make apple cheesecake. Our youngest daughter absolutely loves cheesecake, so she was the most excited about this recipe. As a baker, I find cheesecakes are pretty easy to bake, and also they're very forgiving dessert. However, there are some helpful tips that I wish somebody would have shared with me early on in my baking journey that would have helped eliminate lots of headaches as I was trying to navigate and learn how to make cheesecakes. You want to make sure that all your ingredients are at room temperature. This way you won't end up with lumpy cream cheese and curdled batter. This particular cheesecake uses 4 packages of cream cheese, and you want to make sure that it's softened. It uses half a cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 4 large eggs, and then a whole 13-ounce can of dulce de leche. In my family, we all love dulce de leche because it tastes like cooked caramel, and this is exactly what it will give your cheesecake, this caramel flavor. Also, this recipe uses 1 cup of whole milk ricotta cheese. Now, because I want to be honest and transparent with you, this is where I goofed off in this recipe. The day that I was making, my son was having his away game for his football, meaning that once we leave home, I will not come back until late that evening. So I want to make sure that my cheesecake was done first thing in the morning. All my ingredients were room temperature except for my ricotta cheese. It did not have chance to come to room temperature, so I just used it as is because of lack of time. I did see little curdles in my batter, but taste-wise, it didn't impact my cheesecake, and once it's baked, you couldn't see anything. When making cheesecake, always make sure to use paddle attachment and never use whisk attachment. The whisk attachment will add too much air to the batter, and this will result in your cheesecake rising during baking, then falling during cooling off process. Another helpful tip is when adding eggs, reduce the speed. You want to mix just until the eggs are incorporated. You never want to overmix your batter when adding eggs, and that is because this will incorporate more air into your cheesecake and it will cause your cheesecake to crack. Always, always, always let the cheesecake cool in the turned off oven with a cracked door. If you take it out right away, the change in temperature can cause your cheesecake to crack as well. As you saw earlier in this video, my cheesecake did end up with a few cracks, and that is because I opened the baking door of the oven one too many times. Since I had to shoot video for this recipe, unfortunately, I did have to open my door a few times. And when you do that, especially during the first 30 minutes of baking, it will cause your cheesecake to crack. There are quite a few reasons for why cheesecake could crack, as I just explained to you. But you know what? It is not a big deal because we can cover it up. Mine had a little crack. It did not impact the way it tastes. And by making homemade whipped cream, I was able to cover it up and you couldn't even tell that it cracked. For apple pie filling, all you do is just peel, core, and dice the apples, then place them in a large pot or saute pan. You add your water, sugar, cinnamon, bring the mixture to simmer over medium heat, and cook for about 20 minutes until your apples are softened and your liquids are reduced. After my apples are done cooking, I usually put it in a strainer to just try to remove any kind of liquid that still were left in the pan. Before I forget, always make sure to chill your cheesecake before serving it. Once my cheesecake cooled down to room temperature, I removed it, covered it, put it in the fridge overnight, and then only the next day that you can serve cheesecake. And as far as decorating my cheesecake, I keep it simple. I always tell people I am a baker, I am not a cake decorator. So I just covered the top of the cheesecake with Cool Whip. I piped a little border around my cheesecake, and then the center is filled with the apple pie filling. And I love that this cheesecake does not have any apples baked in, so that way if your guests, some love apples, some don't love apples, if they don't like it, they can just remove apples from the top and still enjoy absolutely delicious dulce de leche based cheesecake. I feel like as a baker, I'm always brutally honest in my feedback. So sometimes it's good to hear what other people think about baked goods that I bake. So my husband took a few pieces of this cheesecake to his coworkers and they absolutely loved it. Also, my kiddos are very honest with their feedback about my desserts, and they all absolutely love this cheesecake. It is definitely something you want to make this holiday season. So I just tried to film this cheesecake and accidentally flopped the piece upside down. So I'm eating right now upside down cheesecake. But let's try it. Let's see how it tastes. If you like apples and caramel, this cheesecake will become your best friend. I promise you that. It'll be perfect for any kind of holiday gatherings. It'd be perfect just for like a pick-me-up dessert. This is so good. I don't know if you guys can see it. So this part of the cheesecake right here is dulce de leche. And I can definitely taste a note of dulce de leche as I'm eating it. So it tastes more like a caramel And then homemade Cool Whip is so easy to make. Adds another, I feel like it adds to the richness of the cheesecake. And of course, apples taste wonderful because they're nice and soft. And this cheesecake is the winner. I may be making it for Thanksgiving. This next dessert is a little bit different. I have seen it circulate among the Slavic bakers on social media, and I have been wanting to make it for so long that I said, okay, it is time to do it. What intrigued me about this dessert is that when you see a video of it, it almost looks like a sponge cake. But what really got me is that it is only 2 ingredients, apple and gelatin. There was no sugar, there was no any kind of sweetener, so it really intrigued me and I want to test it out for myself. You first want to peel, core, and cut your apples in half and then bake it. The problem with my apples, they were a little bit on the drier side, so when I tried to, after they baked, when I tried to put them in the blender, I could not get them to blend all the way. The mixture was just too thick, and unfortunately my magic bullet just couldn't handle it. After struggling probably for solid 20 minutes, I was able to get my mixture to blend well. While my mixture was hot, I measured out the pureed apples and I had about 300 grams. So for 300 grams, I needed to use 30 grams of gelatin. Then I used my whisk attachment and blended and mixed everything together on high for about 10 minutes. And my mixture went from dark brown to light, fluffy white mixture. I feel like I have to taste it. So it kind of gives me an idea what kind of flavor to expect when it's set and ready to be enjoyed. It tastes like apple. It's not very sweet at all. So I'm anxious to see how it would be once it sets in the fridge for a few hours and what it'll taste then. I covered the bottom of the glass container with a saran wrap. Once I transferred all my mixture in this container, I put it in the fridge. You're supposed to let it sit in the fridge for about 2 hours, but because we're going to be out of town for my son's football, I left it overnight. The next morning, I pulled it out from the fridge. I removed the saran wrap and cut it into about pieces that resemble marshmallow. Did this dessert taste like marshmallow? No. But I don't know that there's anything, it looked like marshmallow cut in pieces, but I don't know if there's anything that you can really compare this dessert to. I mean, it's really wild. It didn't taste like sponge cake either, but it looked like inside like a sponge cake. I think the best thing to do is just try to make it and just taste it for yourself. Moment of truth. I have wanted to make this dessert for so long because I was intrigued that it was just 2 ingredients, apple and gelatin. And in the video that I've seen originally, it looked almost like a cake, right? And it does kind of look like inside like a sponge cake. So let's taste it. It's actually not bad. I think it's very different. I don't know that I have anything to describe this or compare it to. I definitely taste the very pronounced flavor of apples. And that's it. I think maybe adding a little bit of cinnamon would have added a little extra flavor to apple, but otherwise it's not bad. I think if somebody who cannot have dessert or who cannot have sugar like a diabetic, but can have apples and just gelatin, this is pretty good. 3 viral hits, 1 happy kitchen. Can't wait to show you what's next. See you on the next page.